Good morning. I would like to call the Niagara Police Services Board meeting to order for September 28th, 2023. My name is Jen Lawson and I am the chair of the Niagara Police Services Board. Before we begin today's meeting, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the death of Hamilton Police Constable who passed away tragically yesterday morning. The officer was well known and well respected in the Hamilton community and by many of his friends and colleagues within the Hamilton Police Service and across the city of Hamilton. We are all saddened by his sudden passing, and our thoughts and prayers are with his family, friends, and the chief and the members of the Hamilton Police Service during this difficult time. I recognize that this is very difficult for the entire policing community and ask all of our service members to take pause, to reflect, while also checking in on each other. I know that the Niagara Regional Police Service Member Support Unit is engaged and available to help any members who require support. I would ask everyone to stand for a moment of silence in support of our colleagues at the Hamilton Police Service. Please be seated. We begin today's meeting by acknowledging that the Niagara region is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattawindaronk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that work and live in Niagara today. The Regional Municipality of Niagara Police Services Board stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. I'd like to do roll call. Member Kiokio.
Present.
Member Yip.
Present.
Member Kapsavanu.
Present.
Member McKendrick.
Present.
Member Steele.
Here.
And Vice Chair Eek does send his regrets. Do we have any declarations of conflict or pecuniary interest? Seeing none. If I could have members Kiokio and members Yip move that the minutes of the public board meeting held Thursday, July 27th be adopted as circulated. Are there any corrections, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. We'll move on to reports from myself. I'd like to, on behalf of the board, I would like to welcome David Tilley to the meeting. David is with the Inspectorate of Policing at the Ministry of the Solicitor General, and he serves as a Policing Services Advisor to Zone 4 Police Services Boards in Ontario. He regularly attends our meetings as part of the routine visits by Policing Services Advisors to police boards across the province. The board is pleased to see his continued attendance at our monthly meetings. The Canadian Association of Police Governance annual conference was held from August 16th to 18th in St. John's, Newfoundland. The theme of the conference was governance talking, conversation streams, and deep dives. And participants had the opportunity to hear from police leaders about key issues and emerging trends that continue to strengthen police governance throughout Canada's local communities. I attended the conference along with members Kiokio, Kapasavanu, and the board's executive director, Deb Reed. The Canadian Association of Police Governance hosts monthly webinars as part of their educational strategy to keep police boards and police executives across Canada apprised of issues currently affecting the policing community. And since the last board meeting in July, board members participated in 2 webinars, one on August 29th entitled Police Organization and Wellbeing, and one on September 19th entitled Culture and Trauma-Informed Curriculum. Board members are pre-registered for all webinars, and for those who cannot attend at the specific date and time, a recording of the session will follow once the webinar is completed. On September 7th, members Kiokio, Kapasavanu, and I joined Chief McCullough and members of his executive team at a recruit graduation ceremony for 5 currently serving police officers and 10 new recruits at the Niagara Regional Police Service. The ceremony provided an opportunity to welcome Niagara's newest police constables to the service and to meet the members of their families. On September 8th, the board hosted an information session at police headquarters for Niagara Regional Council members. The session provided a detailed overview of the Police Services Board and Niagara Regional Police Service, our respective roles, our responsibilities to Regional Council and our communities. The session was attended by the Regional Chair and 10 Regional Councillors, as well as board members, the Chief, deputies, and members of the Niagara Regional Police Services Executive and Senior Leadership Team. To ensure that all regional councillors had an opportunity to learn about the policing in Niagara, a copy of the presentation and video recording was provided to those who missed the session or would like to rewatch it. It is the board's goal that through continuous collaboration with the Regional Council, we will be better able to support community safety and work together to deliver adequate and effective policing in Niagara. On September 14th, I joined members of the service at Beyond the Blue Champions of Change Awards Gala. The event was held in Toronto, where participants gathered to acknowledge and celebrate police service members and community partners who are championing the advancement of mental health and well-being initiatives within their respective services. And one of our own members had actually won an award there. On September 19th, members Kiokio and board staff joined Deputy Chief Flynn and members of the service at Working with Indigenous Communities learning session that was held in the community room at police headquarters. The session was hosted by the Service Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Unit and Constables Mitch Dumont and Jay McCarthy of the Niagara Regional Police Services Core Unit spoke to their personal experiences working closely with Niagara's local Indigenous communities. Niagara Regional Police Constable Naomi Fillier of 2 District also shared her experiences while working with the Indigenous communities through her previous employment with the Thunder Bay Police Service as their Indigenous Relations Officer. The event was live streamed, and board members who were unable to attend were provided the opportunity to watch the video recording online. I watched the recording and would like to thank Constables Dumont, McCarthy, and Fillier for sharing their personal stories. On September 24th, I joined Deputy Chiefs Flynn and Forty and numerous members of the service at the Canadian Police and Peace Officers Memorial Service held in Ottawa. This important and special event brought together police officers, families, and friends at Parliament Hill to pay tribute to our Canadian police officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty. The parade and presentation of hats of those police officers that died in the line of duty last year was a somber reminder of why police services from across Canada gathered at the ceremony. We are reminded of the tragedies that occur to these officers who selflessly serve our communities and the ultimate sacrifice that these brave officers have made. Crime Stoppers of Niagara held their annual fundraising golf tournament on September 25th at Lookout Point Country Club in Font Hill. The Niagara Regional Police is a proud supporter of this worthwhile fundraising event by way of annual donations made through the Services Special Fund, which does not form part of the police operating budget and is separate from the regional tax base. This year, members Kiokio, Deputies Flynn, Forty, and I participated in the tournament as the service's sponsorship representatives. From October 11th to 13th, the Niagara Regional Police Association will be hosting the Police Association of Ontario annual civilian meeting at the Americana Conference Resort in Niagara Falls. As board chair, I have been invited to provide welcoming comments at the opening ceremony on October 12th, and I appreciate the opportunity to acknowledge the contributions and critical support roles that our civilian employees play to keep our police officers and our communities safe. On October 26th and 27th, the Ontario Association of Police Services Boards will be hosting their 2023 annual Labour Conference at the Delta Hotels by Marriott Toronto, Mississauga. And attendees will have the opportunity to learn more about the labour relations landscape across Ontario, including a panel on policing with the Inspector General, OIPRD, and SIU, and discussions about the police chief's evaluation and training, legal developments on labour relation matters, WSIB and OMERS, and trends in collective bargaining. Members Kiokio, Kapasavanu, the board's executive director, Deb Reed, and I will be attending the conference along with Chief McCullough and Deputy Forty. The board is holding a Public Finance Committee of the Whole meeting on Thursday, October 12th for discussions on the Niagara Regional Police Services 2024 draft operating budget And the next monthly board meeting will be held on Thursday, October 19th. Both meetings will be held in the community room at police headquarters, beginning at 9:30. And that concludes my report. Are there any questions, members? No? Seeing none, Acting Deputy Chief.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everybody. Chair, my report will be just a little bit lengthy since the board doesn't meet in August. We've had a busy summer, so I'll try and be brief, and I'll try not to duplicate too many of your entries, but the first one, Chair, I just wanted to speak very briefly about the Champions of Change Gala that you had mentioned, and just give a little bit of background on our member, Constable Mike Warnock, who received the Agent of Change award at the gala. And just as briefly as I can, Mike is a reintegration officer with our wellness unit and has worked with over 50 members of our service with different backgrounds and experiences to help them achieve their ultimate goal of returning to the positions they had before they experienced some setback or challenges in their career through traumatic incidents. Mike shares his experiences as a very experienced officer who himself has experienced critical incidents, and Mike has a very positive reputation that gives him credibility with our other members. Although much of Mike's work is done with members who have been involved in these events, he also supports those who have accumulative stress, post-traumatic stress disorder, occupational stress injuries, physical injuries, and those who have been out of the workplace for many reasons. Many have expressed that if it was not for Mike, they think they would still be out of the workplace. So since becoming a certified facilitator, Mike has taught the reintegration facilitator course to over 100 officers from several agencies, including the CBSA. And he also volunteers with a new working group called GRACE, which is Gaining Resilience After Critical Events, where he shares his knowledge and expertise and also lectures at Niagara College about the realities of policing and persevering through critical events. So thank you to you, Chair. I wasn't able to attend that evening. Superintendent Greco, Inspector Kaczynski, Staff Sergeant Atamanuk, and a number of Mike's colleagues for attending on that evening for a great event. I'd next like to tell the board about a visit that we had in August of this year from the Treaty 3 Police Youth and Police Initiative. So Constable Brandon Kuzik of Treaty 3 Police in Kenora contacted members of our EDI unit and informed us that he oversees what we refer to in policing as the YIPPY program, the Youth in Policing Initiative. I'm sure that the kids didn't pick that name themselves because I don't think it's that cool. But being aware that the NRPS had a strong connection with some of our Indigenous groups in Niagara, he did request a visit and a tour of our police facilities while they were in the area. So the goal for Brandon was to provide some life-building skills and opportunities for their youth from communities that surround the Grand Council Treaty 3 and Kenora area. As mentioned on Wednesday, August 2nd, a group of 21 youth, 9 staff members, and Elder Megan Henry, an Indigenous knowledge keeper, visited some of our facilities at Emergency Services, 2 District and Headquarters, where members of our own YIPPY program were also in attendance. During the visit, Corps and Indigenous liaison officers, Constable Mitch Dumont and Jay McCarthy, who you mentioned earlier, interacted in such a positive way with the youth that when they returned home, they were talking about the NRPS and Constables Mitch and Jay. They made a great connection with the youth and their escorts. And as a result of those positive relationships, the Chief and Deputy Chief of Treaty 3 Police have invited Constables Dumont and McCarthy to visit them in the Kenora area to further learn about the way of life and experiences of the police in that area and their connections in the community. So we have approved Mitch and Jay's visit to the Grand Council Treaty 3 area for October 10th to 16th to reconnect and participate in numerous events during the time of year that is their fall harvest. So really look forward to that, and again, look forward to hearing Mitch and Jay's experiences when they get back to Niagara. In September, the Niagara Safety Village celebrated their 20th anniversary, and Acting Deputy Chief Todd Wazilovich attended the event with representatives from EMS, from local fire departments, elected officials, and dignitaries. Todd congratulated Executive Director Shirley Cordner and thanked Safety Village staff for their 2 decades of providing a safe and controlled environment in Niagara for our children to receive safety education and providing us with opportunities and for meaningful youth engagement. To your point, Chair, on the Canadian Police and Peace Officers Memorial, I'll just add that about 70 members from across our auxiliary, our pipe band, the Chief's Honor Guard, the executive, and of course yourself, Chair, were in Ottawa for the 46th annual event. Our participation also included 6 members who ran to Parliament Hill from Toronto over a 3-day period as part of the memorial run, and 5 members who cycled to Ottawa from the Ontario Police College over 4 days as part of the Ride to Remember, including Acting Deputy Chief Wazilovich participating again this year. Sorry, he's back to Superintendent. He was Acting Deputy Chief last week. So thank you to everybody who was able to join us in Ottawa. Chair, I'm happy to report to the board that we have been part of the government's, Ontario government funding to police services through the Victim Support Grant, the VSG program, which is part of Ontario's Guns, Gangs, and Violence Reduction Strategy, which complements the province's anti-human trafficking strategy. For the 2023-24 grant cycle, the service will be receiving just under $59,000 and will be using these funds to have an experienced victim advocate working directly with our officers in the Human Trafficking Investigation Unit to afford victims another voice to help them overcome barriers and those who are perhaps hesitant to cooperate with police directly. Our victim advocate will also work with Victim Services Niagara to help them access resources from community agencies. So that's a great news story. Chair, in terms of the 2023 homicide charts, there were 2 homicides to report from the last period since our meeting in July, and I will just go over them briefly. On September 6th at 2:50 a.m., the service received a 911 call indicating that an individual had been stabbed on Victoria Avenue in Niagara Falls. Our officers responded with paramedics and the Niagara Falls Fire Department, and upon arrival located an adult male victim who, despite life-saving measures, was pronounced deceased at the hospital. Detectives from our homicide unit assumed carriage of the investigation, supported by 2 district detectives and forensic services. Detectives obtained images of the suspect, and those images were released to the public for identification. The suspect at that point did reach out to police. On September 7th, they attended the headquarters and surrendered to officers. 31-year-old Devin Kinnear of Kitchener has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. He's been held for a bail hearing, and which occurred on the 8th of September and was held in custody. So a thank you, Chair, to the public who did respond with their comments and input with respect to the media release that went out. The second homicide, very recent, on Saturday, September 23rd at 4:45 in the morning, our officers responded to an assist ambulance call on East Chester Avenue in St. Catharines. And upon arrival, our officers found the paramedics and fire services on scene and tending to 1 male victim. There was a taxi seen on the roadway with its doors open, and ultimately it was found that the victim was the driver of that taxi. He was unconscious and suffering from a critical injury, and then transported to an out-of-region hospital in critical condition. The victim has since succumbed to his injuries. While in hospital, the homicide unit has been engaged since early in this investigation, and as has our forensic services unit. So we are asking, and the homicide unit released this information yesterday evening. We are asking that anyone with information is asked to contact our investigators by calling 905-688-4111, option 3, and then extension 100-9124. Anyone who knows something about this crime can also visit Crime Stoppers of Niagara online or call 1-800-222-8477. Next, Chair, is the report with respect to our traffic fatalities and serious collision incidents. There were 3 fatal motor vehicle collisions since last we met, and 3 life-threatening injury motor vehicle collisions in July and August of this year. The first one, Chair, occurred in Niagara-on-the-Lake, approximately 8:30 p.m. on Thursday, July 13th, when 2 district officers on routine patrol discovered an injured male lying in the north side ditch on east-west line at Concession 2. This victim was an 84-year-old male who was treated at the scene before being airlifted out of town with life-threatening injuries. The investigation revealed that the male had been hit by a pickup truck while cycling, and that the vehicle had left the scene prior to police arrival. On July 19th, police located that vehicle, seized the pickup truck in Niagara Falls area, and the truck has been transported to the Center of Forensic Sciences for expert examination. On July 25th, the victim succumbed to their injuries. Detectives from the Collision Reconstruction Unit are continuing that investigation and continuing to ask for anyone who may have information so they can identify the driver. In the second incident, it occurred in Port Colborne on Friday, July 21st. Our officers with EMS and Port Colborne Fire responded to an assist ambulance call on a trail near Omer Avenue and Borden Avenue in Port Colborne. Officers and paramedics located a 16-year-old male in critical condition with life-threatening injuries, and the investigation determined that he had been operating a dirt bike when it crashed, resulting in significant injuries. He was treated and transported by EMS out of the region, and tragically on July 24th, 3 days later, this young man died as a result of his injuries. In Waynfleet on August 3rd, our officers responded to a serious single vehicle crash on Forks Road in Waynfleet. Officers located a motor vehicle resting on its roof in the ditch on Forks Road. Members of Waynfleet Fire and Emergency Services were already on scene providing life-saving measures to one of 3 occupants who were inside the vehicle. Tragically, a 38-year-old woman was pronounced deceased at the scene. The 2 other occupants were transported to hospital and have since been released. In Fort Erie, we had a life-threatening injury collision. On July 29th, our officers attended with Niagara Parks, EMS, and Fort Erie Fire Services for a report of a serious collision on the Niagara Parkway near Town Line Road. Emergency responders found that a vehicle had left the roadway and struck a tree, and the driver was a 19-year-old male and the only occupant of the vehicle who needed to be extricated from the vehicle. He remains in hospital at this time. In Niagara Falls on August 22nd, officers responded with EMS and Niagara Falls Fire for a motor vehicle collision involving a pedestrian on Morrison Street near 2nd Ave. The investigation determined that a vehicle was traveling west on Morrison where it collided with a 43-year-old woman from Niagara Falls. The pedestrian was assessed by paramedics at the scene and transported to a trauma center and remains in hospital in critical condition. On August 28th in West Lincoln, our 8 district members responded again with EMS and West Lincoln Fire to a serious collision involving a car and a motorcycle. A 59-year-old motorcyclist and a 54-year-old driver were both treated at the scene, and the motorcycle operator was transported to hospital with serious life-threatening injuries and remains in hospital. All of the incidents that I've mentioned are all still under investigation by our Collision Reconstruction Unit, with, of course, the support of our forensic services unit. And I'll move on, Chair, to incidents that have occurred, some significant incidents that the board should be aware of over the last couple of months. In September, on September 12th, the service, the Halton Regional Police Service, the Ministry of Transportation, and the Town of Lincoln partnered for a joint enforcement initiative in response to community concerns involving increased commercial motor vehicle traffic in Lincoln and in West Lincoln. The focus of this initiative was to identify commercial vehicles intentionally bypassing the Vineland inspection station and to conduct in-depth vehicle inspections to ensure compliance with road safety standards. Over 150 vehicles were directed into the inspection station. 68 of those vehicles were comprehensively inspected, resulting in 22 vehicles being removed from the highway after significant safety concerns were found. 3 sets of license plates were seized and 52 provincial offense notices were issued for offenses including drive motor vehicle no license, insecure load, inaccurate inspection logs, and excessive exhaust smoke. So the service remains committed to achieving our identified goal of enhancing road safety through this measure as part of our strategic plan. On September 14th, the CBSA officers, and I just, you know, this is really about the CBSA and some of the great work they're doing in our region, Chair, but also about our work with our border partners. At the Rainbow Bridge, they referred a vehicle for secondary inspection, and upon examination of that vehicle, found 2 prohibited firearms, 25 rounds of ammunition, 2 prohibited 18-round firearm magazines, 7 grams of cocaine, 3 grams of suspected crystal methamphetamine, and about $10,000 in currency, U.S. currency, believed to be the proceeds of crime. So the officers arrested 3 occupants and contacted our service for further investigation. A 43-year-old woman, a 23-year-old woman, both from Maine, and a 33-year-old male from Florida have been charged with numerous criminal firearms and ammunition offenses, possession of the drugs for the purpose of trafficking, and possession of proceeds of crime. All 3 have since been remanded in custody. On September 15th, our 1 district officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle on Carlton Street near Shakespeare. And while speaking to the driver and lone occupant of the vehicle, the officers observed an open alcoholic beverage in the console. As the driver exited the vehicle, the officers observed 2 small clear plastic baggies with suspected fentanyl between the driver's seat and the floorboard. That driver was placed under arrest, and a search of the vehicle resulted in the seizure of about 36 grams of fentanyl and about 18 grams of suspected cocaine, as well as Canadian currency. A 33-year-old male from Toronto in this incident was arrested and charged and was held for a bail hearing where he was again remanded in custody. This month, our Human Trafficking Unit, with the assistance of the Halton Regional Police Human Trafficking Unit, entered into an investigation centered around the trafficking of an adult female for a sexual purpose in Niagara, and they had identified a male and a female suspect in this incident. On Thursday, September 21st, a 22-year-old female and a 28-year-old male, both residents of St. Catharines, were arrested and charged with trafficking in persons, material benefit from sexual services, material benefit from trafficking in persons, procuring and advertising another person's sexual services. They have both been remanded in custody at this time. Detectives have reason to believe that there could be other victims in this case and have asked anyone with information to come forward and contact our Human Trafficking Unit. And that ends my comments for this morning. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Acting Chief Flynn. Board members, are there any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to presentations. If I can have Corporate Communications Manager Stephanie Sayborn come forward.
Good morning. First, this morning, thank you for the opportunity to showcase our corporate communications unit and give an overview of what we're able to do both in the public eye and behind the scenes in the unit within a day-to-day basis. A quick overview as we start of our structure of our unit and our people within it. The Corporate Communications Unit reports directly to the Office of the Chief. There's myself as the Manager of Corporate Communications, and I'm intended to be focused on strategic communications while also overseeing the output of the unit along with daily operations. We have 2 media relations officers as well, who you'll be familiar with, Constable Phil Gavin, as well as Constable Barry Ravnik, who is with us currently as a temporary parental leave replacement. They handle the majority of the day-to-day pieces within the media unit, as well as liaising with detectives and various representatives within the service to answer media inquiries and do interviews as well. In addition, we also have a corporate communications technician assisting with day-to-day demands, graphic design, social media, as well as photography as well as required. I know you're familiar with the mission statement of the service, but in addition to that, the Corporate Communications Unit supports internal and external strategies to ensure that the overall brand and the trust of the public in our police service is appropriately conveyed and represented as well, while also ensuring that both of our members and the community are informed and engaged in a timely manner. We're focused on an open and professional relationship with our media partners to utilize that platform, in addition to our social media channels, which I'll speak to in a moment, to ensure accountability and transparency as well to the public that we serve. When we talk about relationships, we recognize that it is critically important to have an open flow of communication with our community, not just in emergent situations where information can be treated as a commodity, but also in our day-to-day operations as well. We often speak about, and when I'm speaking to people, is the soft and the hard goals of our unit. The soft would be our relational pieces, so sharing positive stories of our members to build trust within the community. And when we speak about accountability and transparency, we talk about not just speaking about the positive stories, but also speaking to any negativity as well that's presented and addressing community concerns as they come forward. Our hard goals include building our community trust and engagement, and it means that we need to accomplish the tactical communications objectives such as emerging events, public safety information, identifying suspects or witnesses, that we have a solid foundation within our community as well, and a large audience to be able to consume and action that information. In addition to leveraging social media, we also work to ensure stakeholder relationships are established and nurtured as well. In 2018, we initiated the creation of the Niagara Emergency Communications Network, which brings together various communications experts from across sectors across Niagara, which includes the municipal, the regional, healthcare, and education sectors as well. And we share best practices, we build relationships so that when there is an emergent event, we're able to quickly mobilize and work together to ensure that we're amplifying accurate public safety information to the community. You'll remember the significant weather event that we had last Christmas, which would be an example of that group coming together very quickly in an EOC setting, an Emergency Operations Committee setting, to be able to amplify and coordinate that public safety information, and very much demonstrated the value of that existing partnership and relationships. In addition, we also implemented the media use of force experience, where we routinely bring in members of the media to do classroom education sessions on the use of force model before having a hands-on experience as well, where they're able to work through practical training experiences and take part in judgment scenarios as well. When we look at our daily functions of the unit, the mission, as we spoke to earlier, is to engage and inform our community. In addition, we're managing daily media inquiries, publishing media releases in consultation with our various specialty investigative units and our frontline officers as well. This is in addition to our internal communication needs, ensuring that our members are engaged and informed through various means, including our internal NRPTV system, as well as the IRIS platform, which is our intranet. On average, our media relations officers are publishing about 50 media releases every month and addressing daily media inquiries, also conducting resulting interviews from those media releases. Recognizing the importance of communications, our Corporate Communications Unit also frequently lectures on pre- and post-Ontario Police College and post-Ontario Police College with our new recruits, the Criminal Investigations course, the Supervisors course, and as well we're 2 of the 4 people in Ontario who lecture on the Ontario Police College MCM, Major Case Management course as subject matter experts. I spoke earlier about the power of social media, which really is one of our most effective ways to be able to communicate with our community. We currently utilize Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn as well, recognizing the need for a layered approach as we try to reach the most impact across our community, along with traditional media for those who are not on social media. We work closely with our investigative units for opportunities to leverage our community to assist in these investigations and advancing these investigations through media releases as well as videos. In this specific instance that I have up, we were able to leverage our social media to advance the investigation, had over 66,000 direct views in one day, and was able to directly lead to a suspect arrested and identified and arrested in Hamilton. In addition, we can also alert the community to public safety concerns, such as a stabbing that occurred in St. Catharines, which saw the shutdown of an area while officers search for that suspect who is identified in that instance. And we're able to quickly communicate road closures as well to our community when necessary, depending on the impact that they'll have. We also utilize our social media channels to inform the public of wanted persons through Wanted Wednesdays, as well as caught on cameras when we have information from detectives of a person of interest who that they're looking to identify. We also place an emphasis as well on crime prevention and empowering our community through steps that they can take to protect themselves and their belongings. And we regularly post 9 p.m. routine reminders to ensure that residents lock their vehicles and their cars and homes, as well as lock it or lose it reminders, which we also partner with our district frontline members in initiative pushes during the year, such as times during Police Week. Working with our cybercrimes unit, we push out messaging related to Cyber Sunday, our hashtag Cyber Sunday, with information pertaining to online safety for both youth as well as older persons as well. And then a newer initiative that we're working on expanding is the hashtag Behind the Badge series. We're able to showcase our members across the service, highlighting various units within the service, and it works to humanize our officers, but also works as a recruiting tool as well, as we work to showcase the various opportunities for a career within the Niagara Regional Police Service. In addition to the daily social media postings as well, we have several public awareness campaigns that you'll notice on our channels. Last summer and this summer as well, we established and partnered with our Marine unit to educate about water and boating safety in the warmer months, and as well the recent ATV video unit series that we posted that was in collaboration with our One District Community Oriented Response and Engagement, or CORE unit, regarding ATV safety, as well as, most important, enforcement information for people as well. In addition to those videos, we have our project, our Garage 529 initiative, which is championed by our core unit as well, and includes information on our website, as well as routine and regular social media posts and engagement at community events. One of the campaigns that we're most passionate about is the Stop Hate Niagara campaign, which we've partnered with our Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion unit to bring forward. Along with an educational video, this campaign focuses on education pieces to inform the public and work to educate our members and members of the public of the difference between hate-motivated incidents and hate crimes, and aims to break down barriers to reporting as well to ensure any hate-motivated incident is reported to the police for fulsome investigations. And then working with our EDI unit as well, we have placards that have been translated into several different languages that are available on our website and have been distributed to community groups as well. In the coming months, you'll see the launch of another campaign to highlight our canine unit, and we have various collateral and public engagement pieces, such as ongoing education and awareness of grandparent fraud scams, and an awareness campaign pertaining to distracted driving. We do a considerable amount of resources as well dedicated to internal awareness campaigns and internal communications. Throughout COVID, it was imperative that we with the continuous flow of changing information and enforcement measures, our members were quickly and clearly informed and armed with a focus on education, enforcement, and engagement. In addition to various printed collateral that needed to be created and printed during the pandemic, there were over 160 emails that were circulated to our members to ensure quick and accurate flow of information. Some other examples of internal campaigns include the Project Lifesaver, in which we aim to inform our frontline members on the value of the program and also how to connect families who may benefit from it with the appropriate resources, while also educating the public simultaneously of the benefits of the program for their loved ones. We have the Deaf and Hard of Hearing campaign, which was an internal and external campaign as well to bridge the potential communication gap. In addition to the internal and external communications methods that I've spoken to already, a large portion of my role specifically deals with strategic communication. It would include various external presentations, such as to councils, as well as budget presentations, ongoing training along with our media relations officers to our members and senior command team, while also facilitating interviews with subject matter experts within the service. At the activation of an incident commander, I act as liaison between the incident commander and our frontline media officer to facilitate the approval and the communication of timely public safety information in the duration of an active incident, as well as when an investigation reaches the major case management threshold, which would include a homicide, a sexual assault, or a multiple shooting. Working with our member support unit, we're also in the creation and implementation stage of an internal podcast to allow an avenue for others to share their experiences as well, while continuing to normalize mental health concerns that are experienced by first responders. As I wrap up, I want to thank you again for the opportunity to be able to share some insight into the work that is done by our corporate communications team in the public eye, as well as both the work that we're doing internally as well. We have the benefit of being able to work with almost every single aspect of the service and members across the service, both sworn and professional staff, and be able to showcase the work of our members that would otherwise go unseen. Through you, Chair Lawson, I welcome any questions from the board.
Thank you, Stephanie, definitely for furthering our own and the public education on pieces that are required for to actually do the policing and police service in our community. Members, do you have any questions? No, seeing none. Oh, sorry, Member
Thank you.
McKendrick.
I don't have a question, more of a comment, and a thank you for presenting. I think I've been part of the board for several years now, and this is the first time I had a full picture of all that was involved. So just the proactive, the emergent, the internal, the external, that's a lot given the resources that are allocated to that. So thank you to you and the team.
Yeah, fabulous team. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Thank you so much for your presentation. It was very informative. And again, it's part of our ongoing strategy to inform not only our board, but the members of the public of what's all involved in policing, not just frontline officers. Thank you. If I can have members Capizavanu and McKendrick move that the presentation be received. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. Moving on to consent agenda, if I can move items 8.1 to 8.16 in block. If I can have members Steele and Kiokio move that the information be received. Are there any questions? No, seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. New business, 9.1, the 2022 annual report, Niagara Regional Police Service, January 1st to December 31st, 22. We can have members Yip and Capizavanu move that the board approve the Niagara Regional Police Service 2022 annual report, and further that the document be posted on the Niagara Regional Police Services website, and Regional Council be notified pursuant to Section 32(1) of Ontario Regulation 3/99, the adequacy and effectiveness of police services, and the information sharing protocol between the board and the region. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. If I can have members McKendrick and Kiokio move that the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019 proposed amendments, adequate and effective policing in response to active attacker incidents regulation be moved, and further that the board provide a copy of the report to the Ministry of the Solicitor General. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 9.3, if I can have members Steele and members Yip move that the Community Safety and Policing Act 2019 proposed amendments training regulation be received, and further that the board provide a copy of the report to the Minister of the Solicitor General. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 9.4, if I can have members Kiokio and Steele move and receive that the Niagara Regional Council Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion and the Damaging Impacts of Hate and Intolerance, and further that the resolution be referred to the Chief of Police for a recommendation in response to the request from the Niagara Regional Council. Any questions? Member Steele.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just with regards to the recommendation where we're having the chief reach out, can I'd like to add an amendment to this for the chief to actually offer a time to speak at the Corporate Services Committee and any staff that is necessary to basically give a good overview of what our service does with regards to this issue. I think it's good that our regional counselors, specifically on that committee, because that's where it came from, to the full regional council, understands the way we, as a police force, deal with these issues on a day-to-day basis and the training that's involved, and anything that's new that may be coming out with regards to that training, and any suggestions that the committee can make to the chief that may, that he can bring back, not necessarily here, but to the service itself.
Thank you. Members, any other comments, questions? Member sorry. Oh, sorry, for the amendment. Member Kiokio seconds that. Members, any other questions or comments? No? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. Thank you, Member Steele. 9.5, sorry. Oh, sorry, the motion is amended. Thank you. 9.5, sorry. Oh. Oh, sorry, the vote, oh, sorry, I thought we just did that.
So we voted on the amendment, so now that it's now part of the main motion, so you go back and do a vote on the motion as amended.
Okay, so we're going to go back on the motion that is amended. And we are going to vote again on the motion that is amended to include that we're offering time to speak to staff and council on what our services does, in including that the resolution be referred to the chief for recommendation. Right?
That's right.
Got it. All right, so members, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. Nailed that one, not really. 9.5, Niagara Region Councillor Information Request for Police Service 2023 Budget Comparison. If I can have members Capizavanu and members McKendrick move that the information be received, and further that the board provide the requested information for consideration at the Region's October 12th, 2023 Budget Review Committee of the whole meeting. Members, any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 9.6, if I can have members Steele and Kiokio move that Police Services Board meeting date change on October 2023, that the board amend its regular monthly meeting date from Thursday, October 26, 2023 to Thursday, October 19th, 2023. Members, any questions? Yes, Member Steele.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm voting for this, and I'm in favor of it, only because of the conference that's in Toronto, but I just want the board to know that I won't be here at the change meeting, because I'm away at another conference with regards to the marine industry, so I just make sure that we have quorum, so I notify you now that I won't be here.
Thank you for that. Members, any other questions? No, seeing none. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 9.7, Police Services Board 2024 proposed meeting schedule. If I can have members Yip and members Capizavanu move that the board approve the schedule of regular meetings for the Niagara Police Services Board and committee meetings for the year 2024 as presented. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. Items 9.8 and 9.9, special fund requests. Before we consider these requests, I would like to remind members of the public that the special fund does not form part of the police operating budget and is separate from the regional tax base. The special fund is a discretionary pool of funds which is used for grants and donations. Disbursements from the fund are made in accordance with the guidelines provided in the Police Services Act and the Board Bylaw 376-2018, Special Fund Administration Limitations and Guidelines. For 9.8, if I can have members McKendrick and Steele move that the board approve a donation in the amount of $2,500 from the special fund for the purchase of a corporate table at the annual Penner Home Hardware Spotlight Gala. Members, any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. 9.9, if I can have members Kiokio and members Yip move that the board approve a donation in the amount of $1,000 from the special fund to Heartland Forest for the annual Pumpkin Fest community event. Members, any questions? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. Do any other members have any new business? No? Acting Chief?
No, I do not, thanks.
Perfect. So with that, we do have some in-camera reports that we move to. So I'm going to move items 11.1 to 11.5 in block. If I can have members Kapasavanu and members McKendrick move that in accordance with the board direction, the above noted in-camera reports be received as public information. Any questions, members? Seeing none, all those in favor? Anyone opposed? That is carried. And with that, we are adjourning. The Police Services Board will adjourn the public portion of this meeting and reconvene in camera for consideration of confidential matters pursuant to Section 35(4) of the Police Services Act. Thank you so much for attending today.